You are behaving like a big baby. Come on, you just got a raise. Go and buy your own place lah. Don't be a crybaby lah when it comes to getting a home loan. Nah.
Baby, stop drooling. Everyone watching you. Stop it. Calm down. Dear, so happy. We found out we're not overpaying for a dream home. Ayo, baby, I love you so much. Goody, goody, goo.
Oh, bro, you are babbling. I can't understand. I mean, don't stress. These are happy moments. It means you are growing up.
I know, raising a kid can be scary.
You just need to find a place near to good school, clinic, MRT, shopping mall, and your in-laws. That's all.
Hey, wait. You all are frightening him. He's about to...
Thank you for tuning in to iProperty Development Excellence Award 2021.
I would like to thank iProperty. We are happy that iProperty recognized us.
感谢 iProperty 及各位评委。
We are very happy to receive this award from iProperty. We are humbled to receive this prestigious award from iProperty.com.my.
Thank you, iProperty, for this very meaningful recognition.
Bayangkan, sebuah tempat di mana ibu dan anak menjadi teman baik. Ayah dan anak lelaki menjadi rakan karib. Jiran menjadi kawan dan kemudian menjadi keluarga. Dalam persekitaran yang selamat, yang jauh menjadi rapat dan yang rapat menjadi lebih akrab. Agar kita sentiasa ada untuk satu sama lain. Selamat datang ke kehidupan komuniti berinspirasi LBS Alam Perdana.
Hello everyone and welcome. Good evening. My name is Frida Liu. Welcome to iProperty Data Talks, your burning questions answered. This Facebook Live will air on iProperty's Facebook page. iProperty, the #1 property site in Malaysia, believes in assisting buyers in every step of the property journey. In this show, we will share property pricing trends of different locations in Malaysia with you and ask property developers some burning questions you buyers might have. So make sure to like and follow iProperty's Facebook page and select to receive notifications from us so you won't miss any episode when we go live. Now, before that though, we have some awesome prizes for those of you who have tuned in live now. How do you win the prizes? Our first question is, which locations' property pricing trends will be discussed today? Is it 1, Setia Alam? Is it 2, Shah Alam? Is it 3, Puncak Alam? Or is it 4, Kota Kemuning? Our second question, which of the following township will be discussed today? Is it 1, LBS Alam Perdana? Is it 2, Kita at Cyber South? 3, Desiran Bayu? Or 4, The Island Residence? Our third question, what is the website URL for iProperty Malaysia? Is it iProperty.net? Is it iProperty.com.my? Or is it 3, iProperty.com.sg? Or 4, iProperty.com.tw? You're in Malaysia, so what do you think? And for those of you who just tuned in, welcome to iProperty Data Talks, your burning questions answered. This Facebook Live series will air on iProperty's Facebook page. So remember to like and follow iProperty's Facebook page and select to receive notifications from us so you won't miss any episode when we go live. If you are at the start of your property hunting where you have no clue or where to buy, or perhaps you already know where to buy but not sure if you're paying too much, then this show is for you. In tonight's episode, we collaborated with LBS Bina Group Berhad, a prominent Malaysian public listed property developer that is renowned for building quality and affordable homes for Malaysians since the 1960s. To talk about their LBS Alam Perdana Township, Melodi Perdana Apartments and Ritma Residence landed homes in Puncak Alam. But before that, we've invited Prem Pamanathan, General Manager of Customer Data Solutions from iProperty, to share property pricing trends of Puncak Alam, where the projects are located. Prem believes that everyone should have access to reliable, accurate and up-to-date transacted sub-sale property prices at their fingertips before making the biggest purchase of their lives. His team of data analysts specialize in compiling property transacted prices in Malaysia from the Valuation and Property Services Department, JPPH, under the Ministry of Finance. These property pricing trends can be conveniently found when you view a property listing on iProperty's site. So let's hear it from the man now. Prem, take it away.
Thank you, Freda, and a good day to everyone. Today I'll be sharing some market trends on terrace houses and apartments in Selangor. And we're going to specifically have a zoom into Puncak Alam, which is where the project is today. And all this data is going to be based on sub-sale transactions. So please do bear in mind and keep this as a point when making decisions on buying this property, because all this data is going to be based on sub-sale as of July 2020 last year. So let's get the ball rolling by talking about terrace houses. So here you can see a screen. This screen was a screenshot from bricks.my, which shows all sub-sale transactions for terrace houses in the Klang Valley area. And the bubbles which you see here kind of represents the size of the transactions in that specific area. So you can see places like Klang, has got a lot of transactions when it comes to sub-sale, but geographically they're also very big. And you can see other areas like Kappa, as well, and all those areas where you can see 500 to 200 transactions for all these areas. Today we're going to zoom into Puncak Alam, as I mentioned earlier, and we're going to start off by seeing where people are actually buying terrace houses in Selangor. So this chart here shows the market share, and the percentage of transactions based on 8,600 terrace houses transactions in Selangor in that period which we analyzed. And you can see, Klang, kind of have a huge market lead at least about 12% of the market share, which represents about nearly 1,000 plus terrace houses transactions within 12 months as of July 2020. And you can see from that point onwards, you can see Kappa and Shalam and Kajang, so on and so forth, the secondary items, which is far behind from where Klang is. At the same time, you will see at the other end of the spectrum, you will see that this is where Puncak Alam is, which only has about 1% of market share, which is about 51 terrace house transactions in 1 year. So the question which a lot of people ask is like, why is there such a small number of transactions in Puncak Alam? Now, one of the main reasons is because of availability of supply. So the number of terrace houses in Puncak Alam compared to Klang is very different. So every time when you look at things like transactions, you also have to bear in mind the size of the area and the number of available listings in this case, or sub-sale transaction properties which are available for sale. So the next question a lot of people ask is, are people actually interested in buying in Puncak Alam? Is it an area which is in demand? To do that, we are going to go into what I call our portal demand analytics. So portal demand analytics is something iProperty has been doing in the last 2 years, and recently in February we launched the portal demand analytics for 2020, and here it uses a different data set. It uses unique visits to iProperty and versus against the total listings in iProperty itself. So here what it does is it gives you an indication of the number of people who actually, the total number of visits to a particular listing in an area. The more the visits, the more in demand the area. So we'll start off by things like demand and supply. So from here you can see as usual, you get the usual suspects, the big areas, with the big numbers of visits and the big number of listings. So you see places like Shah Alam, Puchong and Petaling Jaya always in the top 3 or in the top 10 of the list. Now this analysis is not about just demand or supply, it's about the divide, right? The total number of unique visits to a particular listing. So when we do the divide, we will have a different set of top 10. And this is the result of when we did the divide. And from here, you can see that surprisingly, Puncak Alam is actually the most in demand. Now again, most in demand here means there are a lot more buyers than there are sellers in an area, right? Because when you do the divide, it's a bigger number. Now bear in mind again that we did this report in February. So this was before we were deciding to do this FB series, and I was surprised to see that Puncak Alam was actually in the number 1 slot when it comes to most in demand. In fact, you can see from that demand itself in the top 10, right, you will see all the areas have got one thing in common. They are all in the suburbs, right? You can see Dengkil, Semenyih, Cyberjaya, Kuala Selangor. So these are all emerging areas, and emerging areas today are in demand because of, the sizes which they have at the affordable prices. So, remember with the thing of the pandemic, and which is happening in the work from home, and, you don't really have to commute to work and all that, have kind of like driven people to look outside the main urban areas as for looking for bigger spaces itself. The other indicator we have also analyzed is the growth of this demand compared to the previous year. And that's the last table which you see in here. And you can see on this table, when it comes to year-on-year growth, Puncak Alam is actually second to just Serenda at about 27% growth. So here again gives me the confidence that, when the question asks, will Puncak Alam still be in top 10 list? As long they are growing, if you can see in the last table, as long as they are growing in that numbers, yeah, definitely they will definitely be in the top 10 of the list. So to answer the question, are people actually looking in Puncak Alam? I hope this data will help give you some insights into the possibility of the number of people who are actually considering Puncak Alam as a place to stay. So let's move on to the next question, which is capital growth, right? So another question a lot of buyers always ask is like, will my property appreciate in price if I buy in a specific area? So here I've got the whole Selangor. So if we look at the whole Selangor as of July 2020 last year, and we know that last year was not a good year, not only for property, but overall economy and so on. So if you look at this, right, terrace houses in Selangor managed to hold on at about a very modest 1.2% growth. But within Selangor itself, from the chart you can see, from this bar chart you can see there are some areas which performed better than the others. Where, say for example, if you look at Banting, terrace houses actually had a much better capital growth compared to the overall state at 6%, nearly 7% capital growth. And on the other end of the spectrum, you will see places like Berenang actually dropping by 4.5%. Now, where is Puncak Alam in this? So Puncak Alam is in a comfortable number 2 at about 5.3%. So in a period when there is when there's pandemic, and there's a lot of economical issue and border closures and so on and so forth, right? Having at 5.3%, I would say, it keeps places like Banting, Puncak Alam, Sungai Buloh at a much more comfortable place than the other areas in Selangor itself. So capital growth 5.3%. Better than the average for Selangor itself, would place a place like Puncak Alam ahead of other areas in Selangor. So that's for capital growth. The next question is median price, a very popular question by most of our buyers, in the sense like, am I overpaying for my property? So again, we're going to start off with an overall state level number. So when it comes to terrace houses, the median per square feet, so if you're using per square feet as an indicator to eliminate the element of size in here. So it gives you a rough idea, a quick guide on, am I overpaying for a particular property? So terrace houses in Selangor, the median price is 380 ringgit, but of course the price varies across all areas, starting at Bandar Sri Damansara at 700 ringgit, so a lot more expensive. You can see that little red black dotted line giving you an indication of the median price for Selangor, and you can see Bandar Sri Damansara, Bandar Utama, Ala Damansara, they are all leading the pack in the sense of pricing, all above 600 ringgit per square feet. Now you can see in the middle, you got places like Shah Alam, Setia Alam and Cheras at about 400 ringgit per square feet. So Puncak Alam is priced at about 328 ringgit. So when I say Puncak Alam, I say the median pricing of, remember that 51 houses which transacted in Puncak Alam itself. So the median per square feet of that is about 328 ringgit. So do remember this price points as we move on to the next slides, and this gives you an idea of pricing itself. Now we will zoom into Klang Valley, specifically into the west and north where Puncak Alam is, and just to give you an indication, I'm going to place Bangsa as one of the first indicators for you. So Bangsa, of course, it's kind of like the central area. It's priced for terrace houses in Bangsa, priced at about 1,000 ringgit per square feet. Now we're going to move along the west of Bangsa itself. Now as we move along the west, you can see that the prices are starting to kind of decrease at about 400 to 600 ringgit per square feet, with PJ at about 600, and Shah Alam is starting to kind of dip a bit more at about 400 ringgit. Now, as we move on further to the west and north and go more towards the outskirts, right, you will start to see pricing such as 300 ringgit starting to appear. Places like Bukit Raja, Klang, and in fact, Saujana Utama at about 200 ringgit. Now, last but not least, we go further to the west. You can see places like Kapa at 330 and Puncak Alam at about 328 ringgit. So this gives you a rough idea as we move from the city center, moving outwards towards the towards the outskirts itself. You'll see as the prices starting to decrease as we move towards the outskirts. Now let's zoom into Puncak Alam itself. So if you look at Puncak Alam, the project today, which LBS is showcasing, is Ritma Perdana. So if you look at Ritma Perdana, they are priced at about 490 ringgit, and at about 1,400 square feet, that gives Ritma Perdana about 350 ringgit per square feet price tag. So remember, Puncak Alam was about 328 ringgit, which is kind of like the pricing for Selangor itself. 350 kind of places it slightly higher than the Puncak Alam average median pricing and Selangor median pricing. And just to give you a rough idea of the sub-sale availability around these areas, you got places like Alam Perdana, Puncak Alam, Bandar Puncak Alam, and Taman Saujana Utama, all priced between 200 to 350,000 ringgit for a terrace house. While Puncak Bestari, as you can see right on the top there, Puncak Bestari, which is a slightly bigger unit, is priced at about 417 ringgit per square feet. So this is the kind of the highest in that area itself. So one of the questions we need to ask is like, you're paying a slightly higher price in this area. The question we got to ask is why. And so do catch our Q&A session later on, where we'll be asking some of these burning questions to LBS, and they'll be presenting for us with some of those values which Ritma Perdana presents. So I hope this gives you a rough idea of terrace houses pricing in Puncak Alam. Now, next is apartments. So, Alam Perdana, this area which LBS is talking about, has got two projects which we're going to focusing on. The first one was the terrace houses. Now we're going to move on to apartments. Same thing, I'm going to talk through the pricings itself, and just to give you an indication of pricing in Selangor for apartments. Before that, let's talk about where people are buying. So, transacted market share for apartments in Selangor. In that period, there was 3,200 apartments which are sold, sub-sale in Selangor area. Now, far reach from terrace houses, which is about 8,000 over. Right? Now, leading the pack when it comes to the areas in Selangor is Puchong. A lot of apartments availability out there, and a lot of people are looking and also buying apartments in Puchong, which represents about 11% of the market share of Selangor, which translates to about 350 transactions in Selangor itself. Now, where Puncak Alam sits is right somewhere in the middle, about 2% of the market share, which translates to about 70 over transactions. So again, remember when the whole portal demand analytics, and are people actually looking in Puncak Alam? So from there you can see the answer is yes. It's just that the availability of products such as apartments and terrace houses are limited in Puncak Alam. But remember, there are more buyers than there are sellers in Puncak Alam itself. So this is where Puncak Alam stands in the sense of transactions in Selangor. Now, let's go to capital growth. So capital growth, remember terrace houses was about 1.2%. So when it comes to apartments, slightly better, but still modest at about 2.1%. But again, you will see when you break it down by areas, there will be a slight difference. There are some areas which perform better than others. For example, places like Sunway, is did really well in 2020, right? As of July, with 18% increase in capital growth for apartments in Sunway, and so did even Bandar Utama. Whereas you got places like like Tanjung 12, which had a drop of about 8% in capital growth. So where is Puncak Alam in all this? So Puncak Alam, very similar to terrace houses, had a capital growth at about 5%. Again, in a period such as what they're going through now, any kind of capital growth is still, I think, it's something which is challenging. And we have 5% in this period. I think it's pretty good for Puncak Alam. So if you look at this, I think the winners here are places like Sunway, Bandar Utama, Bukit Raja, PJ, and so on and so forth, right up to, in fact, right up to Subang Jaya. They're all able to provide some form of positive growth when it comes to apartments, as people are probably looking for more affordable options when it comes to properties. Now, when it comes to pricing, so Selangor apartments, the median price, as you can see from here, is 290 ringgit per square feet, and a little straight line, dotted line, gives you an indication of all those areas which are above that line and below that line. So from here you can see the most expensive, sitting at number 1 is Bandar Utama, far difference from the median price of Selangor at about 426 ringgit per square feet. And if you can see all the way across, right up to even up to Bangi, right, somewhere in the middle itself, you'll see they're all priced slightly above the state level median pricing. Now, where is Puncak Alam? So Puncak Alam is probably more towards the right itself, at the more affordable price range at about 236 ringgit per square feet, and which is lower than the state median pricing when it comes to apartments. So this is for Puncak Alam's median pricing, 236 ringgit per square feet. Now let's zoom again into west and north of Selangor. Now we'll start off again with probably in the central. It will start off with KL City Centre. So KL City Centre, now Bandar Utama, remember, was the most expensive. Now KL City Centre, surprisingly, it's slightly lower than Bandar Utama itself. Again, probably we are looking at the options of the types of apartments which are available. So probably KL City Centre apartments are older, so they are priced a bit more lower than Bandar Utama itself. So as you move along to the west, you can see now from this point onwards, you see the PJs, the Subang Jayas, and the Shah Alams, right, starting to price at about 300 plus, and Satya Alam, even though it's slightly further to the west, is priced higher than Shah Alam. This is again probably the way the product is actually placed, right? How the product is placed. So Satya Alam probably is branded a bit more affluent and all that, and it managed to garner a price like 364 ringgit. Now let's move on towards the outskirts. Again, you start to see appearing 200 plus places like Klang and Selayang, at about, and Saujana Utama at about 239 ringgit. All right? And finally, if you go right till the end where Kappa is at about 208 ringgit. So you can see when you start, when we started from the middle, at KL City Centre right up to, in fact, up to Kappa, you will see there's, nearly double the price, right? In the sense of the price per square feet. And Puncak Alam is sitting at about 236 ringgit per square feet. Now we zoom into Puncak Alam. Now the project which we're talking about today by LBS is called Melody Perdana. So Melody Perdana is priced at about 335,000 and you're going to get a 900 square feet apartment, which puts it at about 370 ringgit per square feet. So if you remember Puncak Alam, the median price is about 236 for a sub-sale unit. Brand new unit from LBS is going to cost you 370,000 ringgit. Now as a comparison, I've placed some of the sub-sale apartments today in Puncak Alam, and you can see they're kind of priced at about 200 ringgit plus. You got places like Astana and Residency, Warnasiri, they're all priced at about 230 ringgit, 205 ringgit, And Duta Printis is the only one which is priced slightly higher at about 317 ringgit. At a size of 850 square feet is about 270 ringgit. Last but not least, you got Iris in there as well, which is again priced, at about 213 ringgit. So from here, you can see that Melody Perdana is priced at a premium at about 370 ringgit per square feet. Again, these were some of the questions we asked LBS, which in our Q&A session later on, LBS will be sharing with us some of the values Melody Perdana is providing to the buyers, and try to kind of give them the reason why it is priced in that way. Because remember, we are comparing sub-sale to a primary market. So that's basically the kind of pricing for apartments and terrace houses, and I hope this data will help you make some of those informed decisions when it comes to property prices. And thank you. So back to you, Freda. Thank you very much.
Bayangkan sebuah tempat di mana ibu dan anak menjadi teman baik, ayah dan anak lelaki menjadi rakan karib, jiran menjadi kawan dan kemudian menjadi keluarga. Dalam persekitaran yang selamat, yang jauh menjadi rapat dan yang rapat menjadi lebih akrab, agar kita sentiasa ada untuk satu sama lain. Selamat datang ke kehidupan komuniti berinspirasi LBS Alam Perdana.
Thank you, Prem, for that great sharing. I believe every one of you have gotten many useful pricing information from Prem regarding the township of LBS Alam Perdana's Melody Perdana Apartments and Ritma Perdana Landed Homes in Puncak Alam. Stay tuned as we will interview Prem and Amal bin Abdul Aziz, Senior Manager of Corporate Communication, Media and Digital Department from LBS Bina Group Berhad later to answer burning questions about Melody Perdana Apartments and Ritma Perdana Landed Homes in Puncak Alam potential buyers would like to know. Before that though, let's do another round of trivia questions for you to win some prizes, and I hope you're ready, and here's how to win the prizes. Let's have a look at the questions now. I'm sure you're all excited. Our first question: what is the capital growth of Puncak Alam Apartments as of July 2020? Is it 1, 1%, 2, less than 4%, 3, 5.4%, or 4, 3%? Do you remember? If you've been paying attention, you would. The second question is, the median PSF for terrace houses in Selangor is 380 ringgit per square foot. So what is the median per square foot of Ritma Perdana? Is it 1, 150 ringgit, 2, 350 ringgit, 3, 450 ringgit, or 4, 400 ringgit? Our third question, what was the demand growth for Puncak Alam in 2020? Was it 1, 5%, 2, 12%, 3, 17%, or 4, 27%? And for those of you who have just tuned in, welcome to the Property iData Talks Your Burning Questions Answered. This Facebook Live series will air on iProperty's FB page, so remember to like and follow iProperty's Facebook page and select to receive notifications from us so you won't miss any episode when we go live. You've heard our GM of Data Services, Mr. Prem Pamanathan's pricing trends analysis on Puncak Alam earlier. Now it's time to ask the developer some burning questions about properties in Puncak Alam. In tonight's episode, we collaborated with LBS Bina Group Berhad, a prominent Malaysian public listed property developer that is renowned for building quality and affordable homes for Malaysians since the 1960s. And we'll be asking them some questions around LBS Alam Perdana, Melody Perdana Apartments, and Ritma Perdana Landed Homes in Puncak Alam. So we have with us Encik Amal bin Abdul Aziz, Senior Manager, Corporate Communications, Media and Digital Department, LBS Bina Group Berhad, and of course here with us again, Prem Pamanathan, General Manager of Customer Data Solutions from iProperty, a property pricing data specialist, to share some pricing insights on LBS. Alam Perdana, Melody Perdana Apartments, and Ritma Perdana Landed Homes right here in Puncak Alam. So a little bit about this property. It is a 470-acre land located in Bandar Puncak Alam, Selangor. This project is fully gated and guarded, consisting a mix of landed and high-rise residential, commercial, and Perumahan Penjawat Awam Malaysia, or PPAM project. So welcome, gentlemen. So tell us a little bit about LBS Alam Perdana Township. How livable is LBS Alam Perdana? What are the efforts by LBS in ensuring the quality living of buyers in Alam Perdana?
Okay, LBS Alam Perdana is on the 470-acre land, which is strategically located in Bandar Puncak Alam. Okay, this LBS Alam Perdana is accessibility is very good, where it's being surrounded by main highways such as North-South Expressway and KVE, Lata Expressway. We have Persiaran Muqtada Hari, and also the upcoming Damansara Shah Alam Dash Highway. In terms of the amenities, it is just driving distance. We have Tesco here. We have KIP Mall. We have Econ Safe. We have also the UiTM universities. LBS Alam Perdana is just another township that we built by LBS after the success of striving town of Bandar Sarjana Putra. Okay, which is we developed LBS Alam Perdana based on 3 main pillars, which is affordability, connectivity, and also community.
Right. So you were just talking a little bit about the area. You've got your university, you've got a lot of your shops and malls, and you also have a hospital as well.
Oh yeah, we do have Columbus Asia Hospital.
Right. So everything is, well, you know, we've got all the right facilities here.
Yeah, short distance and driving distance.
Right, and we've the three pillars: affordability, connectivity, and community. I know we'll touch a lot more about the community later on. I do want to ask you that.
Okay.
But any key highlights from that?
Well, LBS always highlight this community because we provide facilities. We provide facilities for the residents for them to give engagement or communicate among each other. To have a very lively community, very lively among neighborhoods, among neighbors. Yeah.
Okay, Prem. So, what do you think of Puncak Alam as an area?
Sure. So, Puncak Alam, and I look at the area and also this development itself and all that, it seems more like, a lot of people are going to buy this for own stay and all that. So when it comes to own stay, I guess buying a property is always worth it. If that location is somewhere which you love and you love to stay, So for example, people always ask me where's the best place to buy a property. I always say Subang Jaya. And they always ask me why, is it the data is telling you it's Subang Jaya and all that? And I say no, it's because I live there. My family lives there, friends live there, so I love that area. So I guess Puncak Alam, in the sense of, is it a good area? If you love this area and you love this location, this will be good. But what I'm going to share with you all today, it's not about my personal opinion, but more on the data itself, and the data from iProperty.com.my, which is based on our visits and our listings. So in the last 2 years, we have been generating this report, which we call it Portal Demand Analytics, which takes all our visits and our listings and gives you a ratio of the number of visits per listing. So the bigger the number, the higher the demand, the area, because what it basically means is there are more buyers than there are sellers, which makes the place really in demand. Now, if we speak about just visits, of course, you've got the big areas like Shah Alam, Puchong, and PJ. They're not going to go away. They're going to be there, they're going to be big. But you've got to remember that when there's a lot of visits, there are also a lot of people who are selling at the same time. So, in the sense of demand, is it really high in demand? I would say no, because it's available. You can buy. There are a lot of units out there which is available. So what we did was, when we came up with this ratio, we got a new top 10 list, and to guess what was number 1 on that list for 2020.
Could it be?
Yes.
Puncak Alam.
Yes, it was Puncak Alam. Now, bear in mind, this report was generated in January. We're having this session today. So, when they asked me to please check on this project, I said, where is it, Puncak Alam? I went like, Puncak Alam, it was ironic because that was number 1 in the list itself, And we also have another indicator. We don't just look at who is number 1 in 2020. We also want to see which area grew the most compared to 2019. And Puncak Alam appeared at number 2, right after Surrender, at 27% growth year on year comparison. Now, to give you a bit more context, in a sense, in the national numbers for Malaysia, the year-on-year was a decline of 1.2%, right? And comparative to all the states, the major states, Selangor actually had a positive growth at 3.2%. And the 2 property types which was driving this growth was terrace houses at about 1.2%, very modest, and apartments at 2.1%. So I think we're going to talk about both these property types itself. So I think in the sense of interest, very clearly the data is pointing to us, telling us that there's a lot of interest being garnered, especially in the last 1 year for Puncak Alam. And there are not many listings in the sense of subsale in iProperty today to cater for those numbers. That's why it appeared as number one. You know?
Okay.
And I think coupled with what Amal mentioned just now about the connectivity and the availability of the Tesco's and the universities and all that, kind of puts it in a really nice position. You know, today it might not have a lot of transactions because we call this as emerging markets. And emerging markets are doing really well recently, especially with the COVID-19. You know, people are looking for bigger units, and you know, they're working from home. They don't have to commute. So I'm fine. You know, I'll stay a bit further, but I'm going to enjoy a bigger space because every family member needs their room, right, for Zoom and all that. So it's no surprise as I mentioned, Puncak Alam was number 1. You know what was number 2? Dengkil. Number 3, Semenyih. Number 4, Cyberjaya. Number 5, Serenda. You see the trend?
So people are moving
out.
Yes,
in the trend. These are emerging today. You know, so today, yep, they're probably small compared to the big boys, but I think the potential for them to increase is there.
Right. We're going to deep dive a little bit about, you know, the pros and cons and looking into things, right? But I'm just going to ask this at the very beginning. Is it worth buying a property in Puncak Alam?
Yeah, so I think in the sense of, and the price points that I'm going to talk through later on, right? In the sense of what we have today in Puncak Alam, comparatively to all the other areas surrounding it today, I think, you know, it is something which, not my personal point of view, my visitors are telling me that it's a very interesting place to look into to buy.
The data is
telling
telling you,
yeah.
right? Not just Prem, the data. So, okay, LBS Alam Perdana Township launched in 2017, right? What is the buyer mixes, families? When will it be completed?
LBS Alam Perdana attracts the first-time home buyers, upgraders, and also the growing family. The demographic in Alam Perdana composed of 75% of Bumi and 25% of non-Bumi. Looking at the trend of the current sales development, we are expecting this is going to be completed around 2027.
Right, okay. We're going to go and talk about Melody Perdana, which is a 1,520 unit high-rise apartment in LBS Alam Perdana with a build-up of 900 square feet. It's priced at approximately 335,000 after Bumi discount. So what do you think of its price point, Prem?
Yeah, so for the audience, you know, when they saw me earlier presenting on this, I had some charts, you know, I showed some comparisons, and I always like to start at the state level. You know, it always gives them a benchmark. You know, so today, you know, if you mention, you know, 335,000 at 900 square feet, that places Melody at about, I think it was about 370 per square feet. So Selangor today, the median pricing for apartments is about 288 to 345 ringgit per square feet. So obviously it was, you know, slightly higher than the state median price itself. You know, so the units itself in Melody is 900 square feet. For Selangor, the average is about 850 square feet. So you're getting a bit extra space for that money itself. And when it comes to Puncak Alam, I just looked at sub-sale, by the way. I just looked at sub-sale prices, what's available today here. They are generally ranging between 200 to 317 ringgit per square feet. But do bear in mind that some of these units are pretty old. You know, some of them might not come with facilities and all that. So actually, I'm quite interested keen to hear Amal, you know, kind of like talk about, you know, like why is it, you know, priced, you know, slightly higher. I'm very keen to.
So Amal, why is Melody Perdana priced higher than neighbouring apartments here? What's the reason?
Okay.
What are the reasons?
All right. Okay. Melody Perdana is strategically located within the LBS Alam Perdana Township. That's first, and then it is situated in rapidly growing suburbs of the Klang Valley such as Shah Alam and Sungai Buloh. Melody Perdana is designed and constructed with aesthetic design which come with lift service and various facilities. Okay, the total of 37 facilities that bring residents to a new level, which is we provide a very nice swimming pool with a pool lounge, warm botanical herbs garden, as well as sports courts such as futsals. We have basketball, volleyball, and also sepak takraw courts. So the resident would be able to enjoy all these sport recreational facilities with peace of mind, because we also provide tight security inside this guarded community.
Right, and it's an apartment, not a condominium, right? And so you are having all these facilities, things that you would expect in a condominium, but not so much in an apartment. Very interesting. So sepak takraw, volleyball. Okay, so now there are more than 1,520 units within Melody Perdana's gated and guarded compound. It is quite dense, and to be honest, it's fairly common these days, right? Is there any effort, you mentioned a little bit about it, but is there any effort by LBS to manage this security concern?
To LBS, residents' safety is our top priority. So what we do, we provide a very good and secure and tight security system where every residence will be granted into access to the car park podium, lobby, and with designated access card. So from this access card, the admins can monitor the movement of residents in and out, and also guests coming in.
Right, okay, so there is the added feature of security.
Yes.
Okay, so Prem, you've also shared about terrace houses pricing trends in Puncak Alam earlier. So LBS Bina Group has built Ritma Perdana terrace houses in LBS Alam Perdana. So what do you think of its price points? Is it competitive?
Yeah, so again we'll start at the state level as usual, the median pricing of the state. So terrace houses in Selangor, the median price per square feet is between about 380 to about 400 ringgit per square feet. The pricing wise is about 460,000 to 660,000 ringgit. Now I took a look at Ritma, and Ritma is about 490,000 ringgit, which is quite close to the median of Selangor, and priced about 350, slightly lower than where the Selangor is. However, when I kind of analysed it in Puncak Alam area, they're kind of priced a bit more higher, just slightly more higher than what is available today in subsale. But there are projects like Puncak Bestari and all that, which is priced at about 400 ringgit per square feet. So what the buyers are going to get for this 490,000 ringgit is a 1,400 square feet unit. So the average size in Selangor for terrace houses is about 1,200. It's about 1,200, and I think that also, if you ask around, I've seen a lot of surveys where one of the questions they ask about what's the benchmark of quality of life for someone. You can pay as low as you want and then stay in a pigeonhole, right? So in Malaysia, right, when they ask consumers, there was a lot of surveys on this. What's the benchmark of quality of life? And they said anything above 900 square feet is something which I feel is an acceptable quality of life. Right. So, so 1,400, I think it's something which is going to be very interesting. So if, like say, someone would ask me, Prem, is this a good product specs at 500,000? Looking at every single property in Malaysia today, right, that's a good product spec at 1,400 ringgit. So the price point, yes, slightly higher. But again, I'm very keen to hear from Amal, on this, comparatively to what is available out there, because I don't think there are many new developments out here, and I didn't compare with any new developments, comparing with the older units.
All right, okay. So what is the percentage of transacted terrace houses in Puncak Alam against overall transactions, and do you think it's better to buy a sub-sale terrace in Puncak Alam or buying brand new, like a unit at Ritma Perdana Terrace?
Right, okay. So as I mentioned earlier, Puncak Alam is an emerging market. It's a small number. When it comes to transactions, it's a pretty small number compared to the bigger boys. But based on those numbers, about 40% of people who are buying in Puncak Alam are buying terrace houses. Right? And the big chunk of them are buying apartments, 50% actually. So 90% are buying either terrace or apartments, which is interestingly what LBS is talking about today itself. Now, when it comes to new properties and sub-sale, right? So, when it comes to sub-sale, everyone knows the one huge benefit is I can see the unit. I can walk in, I can see the neighborhood, I can see who's my neighbor, and all that, But the one disadvantage of sub-sale is the upfront cost, or what we call the entry fees. The legal fees, the valuation fees, the stamp duty. I think now, of course, based on the budget 2021, stamp duty, is exempted, but it's not going to last. Government needs income as well, right? So that's going to go soon. Now, so that's the only thing. You got to save up money. So I'll give you an example. For a 500,000 ringgit house, you will need to prepare at least about 22 to 23,000 ringgit of upfront money, to actually buy those units. Whereas when it comes to primary market or new sales, one huge advantage is, of course, the campaigns. Plus the government's initiative to spur new sales with their HOC campaigns. Kind of like, as what Amal mentioned just now, reduces the burden, especially for first-time home buyers. I mean, if you're owning a house for 20 to 30 years, you can sell and then upgrade, which is fantastic. But what about the first-time home buyers, right? So this is where I hope, or most people look at it as where new sales kind of attracts that target audience itself.
Okay. Ahmad, tell us more about the appeals of Ritma Perdana Terrace House. Why should I buy a unit than a subsale terrace in Puncak Alam?
Okay, so the 83.35 acres of Ritma Perdana is nestled community, connected community and a serene township with lush greenery. The development caters community halls. We have public gardens and also various equipments for the resident. It is highly focusing on community engagement again and also security solutions. There will be many common facilities. There are total about 37 facilities that allow residents to engage, allow residents to communicate among each other. And then we also have ingenious layout, wide backyard between about 8 feet to 18 feet that allow the resident to decide whether to convert it into a laundry area or a botanical herbal garden, something like that. And then also we add a jogging path at the back lane of every house to encourage the residents to exercise with the neighbors, with the families, that kind of community that will be very livable, And then again, resident safety would be the top priority, where we will protected by the secure and tight securities.
Right, and I think it's really ingenious, as you were saying, right? This community where jogging, you encourage people to mingle, right? You see people, you see your neighbors, and you got that lovely backyard. You'll be exchanging vegetables with your neighbor. And just encouraging conversation, because I think we've been living in a lot of these homes where we don't see our neighbors anymore. So by doing this, you're encouraging a community. Oh, clever. Right. Okay. Now, would you say Ritma Perdana is suited for first home buyers or upgraders?
Yeah, it is ideal for the first-time home buyers and also upgraders and also for the growing family, because of the reasonable pricing that we are offering, a bit of from 492,000 after Bumi discount. The design is consists of 4 bedrooms with 3 bathrooms.
Okay. Anything to add to that?
No, I think, as I mentioned, it's in the sense of the home ownership campaigns, and all that will definitely help the first-time home buyers. And for people who have been living here for 20 years, 30 years, right, I think this is a refreshing project for them to upgrade to. And you can imagine with all those facilities,
Okay, jogging and gardening.
Yes.
Which I think a lot of people picked up during the pandemic as well.
You're right.
Are there any special promotions for buyers who wish to consider Ritma Perdana as their home, sweet home?
At this moment, we have the Easy Home Ownership campaigns to help purchaser to own their first house. I would very much suggest and encourage for potential purchaser, to contact our sales agent through our hotline and also our digital platforms. We will guide through the whole process of buying. We will make sure that it's going to be a positive buying experience for the potential purchaser.
All right. Prem, net value for money?
There are a lot of properties out there which are priced, and there's a lot of reasons behind it, because of the value which it comes along with it. And this was what I was keen to know from Amal, and I think you got me at sepak takraw. Because I used to play when I was a kid, but now there's no opportunity to play at all. And to hear you mention about 37 facilities, and it's mentioned it's an apartment,
right?
And it comes with a futsal court. I mean, that's amazing, and with all the other elements which generally comes with a condo itself, and has this. I truly now understand, in the sense of when you mention community living and healthy living, this is kind of where it encourages people. Yeah. So the question I would ask is generally like in the sense of, would a buyer be willing to pay 10 ringgit or 20 ringgit per square feet more to have 37 facilities come with the apartments? Because I don't think apartments in KL come with such facilities, So I think if you look at it in that sense, the value which you're going to get to it, I think Amal has kind of described it clearly to us.
Okay. Right. You got me at the vegetable garden.
Oh, really?
See, the mind's really gone to the vegetable garden. So thank you so much for your time, Amal,
Pleasure.
Prem. Thank you everyone for joining us. You guys have given us a lot of insights for buyers who plan to invest in Puncak Alam. So stay tuned as there'll be more prizes to give away for those of you who have paid attention.
Bayangkan sebuah tempat di mana ibu dan anak menjadi teman baik. Ayah dan anak lelaki menjadi rakan karib. Jiran menjadi kawan dan kemudian menjadi keluarga. Dalam persekitaran yang selamat, yang jauh menjadi rapat dan yang rapat menjadi lebih akrab. Agar kita sentiasa ada untuk satu sama lain. Selamat datang ke kehidupan komuniti berinspirasi LBS Alam Perdana.
Such a wonderful sharing session. I'm sure all of us have benefited from their sharing just now. So now comes the time that everyone's been waiting for, trivia game, and here's how to win the prizes. Let's have a look at the questions now. The first question is, which year did LBS Alam Perdana Township launch? Was it 1, 2016, 2, 2017, 3, 2018, or 4, 2019? Our second question is, what's the unique selling point of Ritma Perdana Terrace House? Is it 1, nestled within a connected community and serene township with lush greenery? Is it 2, high community engagement with a total of 37 facilities? Is it 3, secure and tight security? Or 4, all of the above? I talked a lot about this, so you should be able to know the answer. Our third question is, LBS Alam Perdana is developed by which developer? 1, is it LBS Bina Group Berhad? Is it 2, LBS Group Berhad? Is it 3, LBS Berhad? Or 4, none of the above? Thank you everyone for watching iProperty Data Talks. We will see you again. So make sure to like and follow iProperty's Facebook page and select to receive notifications from us so you won't miss any episode when we go live. Have a good night and stay safe.
Bayangkan sebuah tempat di mana ibu dan anak menjadi teman baik. Ayah dan anak lelaki menjadi rakan karib. Jiran menjadi kawan dan kemudian menjadi keluarga. Dalam persekitaran yang selamat, yang jauh menjadi rapat dan yang rapat menjadi lebih akrab. Agar kita sentiasa ada untuk satu sama lain. Selamat datang ke kehidupan komuniti berinspirasi LBS Alam Perdana.